Alright. Hello everybody and welcome back to this next episode of our modded Skyrim playthrough. Today we are going to be doing our next dungeon on the path to acquiring different things for the build. And then we'll jump into maybe doing some early game stuff, possibly Bleak Barrows, but for now, let's get into it. Alright. So, the dungeon of the day is going to be Corvinjund. Now, Corvinjund is where the player will locate the jagged crown. Only accessible after starting. So, we are not able to do Corvinjund yet. So it looks like today, ladies and gentlefolk, we're gonna switch it up and jump into the main questline. So, in harkening back to episode 1, we were in Helgen. Helgen was attacked by a dragon. And then we kind of went off and did our own thing for a while. But now it's okay, because we're coming back to doing relevant things. And we are going to do this dungeon that's just outside of Riverwood. Between Riverwood and Whiterun. And one of the things that I want to point out is as you approach this place, look at the arches. So, game designers, Bleak Falls Barrow is kind of the first dungeon of Skyrim, really. You can kind of do whatever you want, you know. Kind of like we did, but this is designed as to be like the tutorial of Skyrim, the part 2 tutorial. So in part 1, right, we dealt with basics of combat, the basics of
I'm only supposed to eat my enemies.
Potions and things, equipment and inventory and blah 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 blah, how to play the game.
Not even you.
This is the first tutorial that shows you how the game is set up. For example, whether you come from Whiterun or Riverwood, if you follow the paths, you end up here. And what's the most eye-grabbing thing in this location? That peak right there. Now, you might say, oh, it's the throat, because it's so much, the throat of the world, because it's so much bigger. But you can't really tell how big it is from here. You can just tell that it's a distant mountain over yonder, right? And you're way too close to this one for this peak to really make a difference. But as you're just scanning, the only thing that really jumps out is this spire and this mountain. But notice the angular lines. See these ridges of snow, the bright ridges of snow right on top of here, right? the archways that are pointing at this mountain draws your eye to the mountain, right? And so as you come up, the player's eye tends to want to just be drawn right into this, unless they're focused on the ground or like their immediate surroundings. Like, it just draws the player's eye into here. And with the player's eye drawn into here,
Good to have you with us.
now where does it look like we're supposed to go? If you had to guess where the player's objective was, what would you say? And why? So look at the lines and the contours. We have lines that are pointing up. Most of this is pointing up, right? So you're naturally going to be like, okay, I want to find the way to go as up as I possibly can, right? But once I go up, as I go over there, once I go up, am I going to go left or right? What do you guys think from here? This random spike right here tells you if you're going to go left or right. Because this arch kind of curves up and then it ends, and it draws your eye to follow along that, right? So you're being drawn up and you're being drawn this way. And so that is the place where your eye just kind of naturally gets drawn to, that and that peak up there, right? So as we come through, you're not consciously paying attention to that, but you're not questioning where you're supposed to go, right? So as we come through here, right, so now we got through the fog, now we're seeing stairs, right? And stairs are drawing our eye even more, further showing us that up is the right way to go. And so now let's kill these dudes first. Okay. So now let's look at this. Eyes being drawn up, eyes being pointed over, and then look at these central columns. So your eye kind of follows the contour, and then it draws it down. Draws you up, and then draws you down. You see what I'm saying? And then this second half-broken arch does the same thing that one did, pointing you that way. So your eyes go up, up, and then down. And so watch that as we kind of move in here. Should probably steal all of their stuff. Right, so now as we move up, look at, okay, here we are. From here, where is your eye drawn to? Because remember, we already are operating on up, right? And we got these columns here that are pointing up. So when we get to the top of the stairs, up is where the player wants to be drawn to, right? Because subconsciously you're already thinking up, and so when you see these stairs off to the side, you're confronted with this. Arches pointing up, and then that big central column forcing everything down. You know, big, heavy, solid architecture. Up, but then down. Right? So that tells you that you're not trying to climb to the top of this, but you want to go upwards, down. Which brings you up these stairs, because it's up. And then right about here, you know, look at that. You have this great, imposing, bold architecture feature, right? Up, and then down, which leads you to the door. And so the whole thing is built and designed to just have the player draw themselves in.
Bosma who break the Green Pact are called apostates. In Valenwood, they're treated similarly to how the Thalmor...
Right into Bleak Falls Barrow. Okay, so now in this first chamber, here's this inside Bleak Falls Barrow now. Yay! Where do we go and why? First thing that catches your eye is this light. You know, lighting is another huge key thing that game designers will use to draw players from one place to another. And so you enter this, and then there's the light, and so you're automatically drawn to that light. In that light, there are two individuals. So now you know that we're dealing with bandits here. There's something going on with bandits. And if you listen to their dialogue, which I didn't, they talk about some discontent amongst the ranks. But this is also another really interesting part of the tutorial here. So to this point, unless the player goes off and does their own thing, the player has not encountered lockpicking. So the player is drawn to the light, which brings them to the fire, and then the fire illuminates his chest. The player's like, oh, look, chest. Oh, it's locked. Lockpicks, okay. And so then the player is introduced to the lockpicking minigame. As well as the concept of loot being in chests, right? So now, the next thing that grabs the player's attention and brings them forward, you got this great big black pit. You know, you got light, lots of bright, fiery colors, and then dark hole, that contrast, right? And then also look at the inside lining wall of this tunnel. It's almost esophageal. It's ridged. You got these arches, these little arch ridges going over through it, and those rings just kind of draw the player's eye. And then in the very distance over here, more light. And so that's a recurring thing in Skyrim dungeons. Off in the distance, light, and then dark tunnel leading to a light. Dark tunnel leading to a light. You'll pass that torch, that's that light, and then more dark tunnel, light. You know? So it kind of draws the player's eyes to where they're supposed to go. And some of the design team very well at that in some of these dungeons. But Bleak Falls is kind of like I'm about 90% sure the Bleak Falls Barrow is the dungeon that they spent the most time making, put the most effort into getting right, because this is the dungeon that if players don't like or had trouble with, it will kill the game. Because this is their first real experience with dungeon crawling in Skyrim, and if the player doesn't enjoy the experience or has trouble with it or can't follow or gets lost,
I am in your way. I am sorry.
then they'll be like, oh, this game isn't for me. Look, there's another light, tunnel of darkness, and then another light. So they spent a lot of extra time trying to get this particular dungeon right. At least I would expect that they. And if you look at kind of how it's set up, it does look like there's a lot of design care was brought to it. So, in this area here, we're about to encounter an individual going to teach us something. If we don't kill him. Normally I just walk around the corner and kill him, but this time I'm not going to kill him. Another light. Now we see crumbled wall, but also bright light. We're like, oh, okay, we're gonna go this way. Wait a minute, that's a dead end. Oh, okay, more tunnel, right? And then now we're on the other side of... So it's just a navigational technique of where they place lights. And here's our NPC. So what he just showed us is that when you pull this lever is trapped, and so you'll be shot by all of the hidden darts. Right? So you're like, okay, how do I get forward from here? And so you look around. Now look at the lighting in this room again too. Once you enter, what's the first thing that your eye is drawn to? Illumination. These two braziers right there. Brightest sources of light in the room. And what they very clearly are illuminating, which is 3 arches, right? And these 3 arches have these little symbols on them. So you look around, what else looks like that? And you see, oh look, there's some snakes up on the wall, snake and a whale up on the wall above the door. Okay, interesting. And then you look at this. There's also a snake down here. But it looks like there should be a third face right in the middle. And this looks like it's not supposed to be there, so it's some sort of a ruin, rubble thing. Oh, so the face used to be up there and then it fell down and now it's on the floor. So snake, whale, right? And then the player has to solve the puzzle by making it snake, whale, like that. So it shows the player that there's a puzzle here to be solved, rather than just automatically killing the player. Because this guy does it first. The player sees, oh hey, that's the way that you're supposed to go, but there's a problem that you need to solve, and so you go into puzzle solving mode. And then look at that, you open the gate, drawn into another light. Loot here. There's a skill book. That's the first skill book in the game. And so that shows the player that by reading some books, they will earn skill points sometimes. I don't know where the heck that dude went.
We have been spotted.
Okay. So now, as we enter here, we're look at the environment shift. So up at the top of this tunnel, right? Everything is relatively clean, and you get a dry, musty sort of a feel, right? But then go down here, and as you go down here, cobwebs, more cobwebs, right? And you start, oh, this is more dank. There's less keep, more dust, more misuse, right? And then you enter this room, and everything is covered in spider webs, right? And that adds, it's a little bit of a buildup. It adds dim light, spider webs everywhere. It starts building up your suspense level a little bit. Gives you a scroll of fireball and a paralysis potion, right? And then look at this again. Instant light down the tunnel. And then a mysterious voice coming from down the tunnel farther. And you also notice that spiderwebs are starting to thicken. Right? Just building that sense, that suspenseful atmosphere. I thought I discovered that there was a chest in. Oh, it's right. And more spider webs. Can't go through this one. Like, oh, okay, so the spider webs are in the way. Kind of cut your way through. And now look at this chamber right here. Lots of spider webs, huge egg sacs. Better lit than anywhere else in this entire dungeon so far since we've been inside. Right? And new combat. This is the first technical boss fight in the game. Not that there are very many boss fights, but it's a harder enemy than is normally encountered. Especially at this level. I am way over leveled. Also, Inigo kills things. Right? But look at this chamber. Light coming from the ceiling, drawing your eye up. So you see the great big well-illuminated spider dropping from the ceiling. Right? And then you've got this dude stuck in the web yelling at you, help him. You can either kill this dude right here, or you can talk to him and he'll kill himself. I didn't realize at first that
you did it. You killed it. Now
he would kill himself
before anything else shows up. Yes, the claw. I know how it works. The claw, the markings, the door in the Hall of Stories. I know how they all fit together. Help me down and I'll show you. You won't believe the power the Nords have hidden there. Does it look like I can move? You have to cut me down first.
I chased him down.
It's coming loose. I can feel it. You fool. Why should I share the treasure with anyone?
I chased him, I ran, I shot him, I snuck attack him here. But you know what? I'm just gonna take my time. Idiots never. Especially a Draugr ruin. Or moron.
Your kind can talk to animals, yes? Could you have a word with my fleas, please?
Okay.
I have asked them to take
More
a day
light.
off, but they do not listen to me.
Are you serious? Why don't you just get a curl and some frostbite venom soap? That'll take care of your fleas in no time.
My fleas keep me company when I'm alone. They are quite funny when you get to know them. Apparently, I taste good.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
No, I do not think so. Anyway, I feel this conversation is making you hungry. Maybe we should change the subject.
So now we're shown that Draugr sleep in little cell things, alcoves sometimes. But experience. Notice how this one is illuminated? Oh, I missed. Oh, it was the wrong one. Of course it's the wrong one. It's all the wrong one. Anyway, notice how that area over there is illuminated? Kind of pointing you, hey, check this out. But that's not what it's illuminating necessarily. Notice, it's dead Arvel. Well, what killed him, I wonder? Arvel was running along. Draugr will be Arvel. And he was running along for his life trying to escape me. And he...
What do you need? Show me.
Anyway, so Arvel, running, not paying attention to where he was going.
Okay.
And as he ran,
I can't do that. I am sorry.
ah, crap, do I have to use Ari for this?
Show me.
Anyway, as he ran, anyway, he triggered the pressure plate, and the spike that wall flew out and smacked him and sent him flying over here. So now we have the dragon claw.
Everything all right? Yes, I will follow.
Go on, I'll follow. But you sure are ugly.
This one. Nope, it was that one.
It's clear.
Did I mention that I'm super high level? Ow. Okay, so now, right, we've gone through this. Okay, we're showing the Draugr sleep in the alcoves
Crawly, dusty lad.
and swinging trap things. And now we have a hanging pot. Most people would just walk past this hanging pot. But being me, we learn that if we shoot the pots, they fall and there's fire. Also know that undead and fire in Skyrim do not mix very well. That dude might be slightly dead. Mildly. Might have a mild case of being dead. And we also learned from Elgin, if you recall, that is called petroleum. Fire plus petroleum equals, for our dudes out,
Watch yourself.
and dead dudes. Anyway, so more opportunities to learn and to game developers to use this dungeon in the way that it's set up to teach the players how to do different things. Might have to leave. Go at home. So, or distant yonder light, right? And here we go. So there's the light, this light guiding us, and now there's darkness, and then our eyes are drawn to the next light, right? So, this is another very classic chamber. I enter this chamber. The first thing that our eyes are drawn to, movement. In this case, it's a movement that is illuminated. Fire, and then right behind the first thing we notice, and right behind the fire, a waterfall. Waterfall flows down. Okay, that bird draws our eyes to the rest of the room here. Now we see a bridge. It's a pathway moving forward. So you immediately want to be like moving forward. As you do, look at that. There's a noise, there's more motion, and there's an enemy that just steps out of the wall. Right? And that, notice how that is just perfectly lined up with this bridge. So you see the bridge, you walk in towards the bridge, and then boom. Right? Now, as you walk towards to go and investigate the looting of the body, see two more things. See the chest and more motion. Because right about here, you're getting here, you're like, oh, there's not really a pathway through there. But there's this water motion, which brings your eye there. So it's all about, especially in level design, it's all about trying to guide the player's eyes and lead the player's eyes in the direction that you want them to go, but do it in a way that makes them feel like they're the one discovering it rather than you're just showing them the way, you know? So like, right. Coming through here, dark, light, tunnel. Or light. Now, there's water showing us that we should go this way, following along with the water, and more distant yonder lights. Now, we have even more light, as well as this waterfall coming down over here and joining the water, right? But we also have the brightest light, or the brightest not natural light, in the cave right at the end there. So as we approach, right, our eyes are drawn to two tunnels. Options, choices of where to go. Now if you go to the first one, you're drawn to the more natural light. You come out here and have a great opportunity. That. And you can scale down these cliffs, or you can turn around. But you also have a choice. Right? You have two different paths that you can take. And so if you then turn around and take a look at this way, chest, very well illuminated. Good rewards, and that puts it in your head, ooh, there might be some good rewards or loot down that way. And if I go that way, then I might be skipping things. Right? And so at this juncture, the player has a choice. But the player really doesn't have a choice. It just makes the player feel like they have choices to make. They go left or do they go straight? Well, if the player chooses left, right, and they come on down here, they come all the way down here, they come out to the exact same spot. But it still makes the player feel like they have a choice. It's that player choice is really an illusion in a video game. Because a player, regardless, ends up where the game developers wanted them to go. You know? But it still makes the player feel like they had a strategy or whatever, you know, it was their plan, they decided to do this. And that allows the player to enjoy their accomplishments and the various directions that they go, because the player feels like they are interacting with the world instead of just following along this path, which in reality is what they're doing. They're just following along the path while enjoying the illusion that they made a choice, you know. So again, dark, distant light must be the way to go. Should probably get into alchemy in this playthrough. Notice too, the different kinds of light stand out more. So right, we've been crawling through caves for a bit now, and we've got this green light here. But then we come over here and there's firelight again. And it sticks out. It's a stark contrast against this green. And so you're like, okay, so now we're going to be going back into ruins. And here we are back in ruins and out of caves. You know? And so the different lighting draws the player forward, shows the player that we're now entering and switching into a different area. Probably a white at this level. Yeah. Normally it's just a restless Draugr the first time, but seeing as how I'm level 16, a little bit of a different story. Alright. So we are almost to the end. And we are actually getting close to the apex of this dungeon. The focal point, as it's referred to. And so as they do this, Bleak Falls Sanctum. Okay, right? So, big ornate door, very well illuminated, fancy name. Something's changing here. So we go in, and we load in. Immediately we have very large brazier. More guiding lights. More guiding lights. A little bit of a walking area. You can hear that that swinging axe trap, so we know that something's here. Now, this is really interesting how they set this up, because the player will run through here, which I won't. And when they get to the end, they're like, oh, okay, got through. And so if they're not paying attention, they can get surprised by that Draugr. We also have more petroleum and also more fire pots. This is kind of a bringing it all together sort of a room, which is introducing a lot of different elements and then bringing them together into more immersive and complete environments and scenarios like this. Right? You're introducing a mechanic, practicing a mechanic, and then showing mastery over a mechanic. But you don't even need to use the fire and the petroleum, but it's just showing you, or giving the player options onto how they want to use their resources. That was an Amulet of Talos, which is going to be very helpful for us. Eventually. And anyway, and so as they move through, adding more and more and more, letting them practice, the player practice using a lot of different things in concert. Okay. Here's another one. First thing that catches your eye, very big, very old, fancy door. Right? Second thing that catches your eye is that this chamber, right, there's a sound effect right there. Boom. Okay. New area. Something's different here. Something noteworthy. Right? Lots of carvings on the walls. Dude mentioned some kind of a hall of stories, so okay, this makes sense. Notice these great big archways here. You come up to the big door. Activate keyhole. See if we have the key for it. Oh, wait, the claw. Interesting. Nothing happened. Activate the outer ring. Okay. Okay, so it's a combination lock, right? And it's pretty straightforward to understand that it's a combination lock. But what is the code? When I first was doing this, I had no idea that the code was actually written on the claw. So I just sat here and I fiddled with the combinations. I fiddled with it. Until finally, I memorized the fact that this first puzzle is just descending order of smallest, biggest to smallest as far as the iconography goes. I didn't realize that that was an owl at first. I thought it was like a chrysalis or a cocoon or something. So I was like, oh, bear, dragonfly, chrysalis thing, which is an owl. So it's not really biggest to smallest, but as far as the iconography goes. And then we try it again. And there we go. And the claw, that is where the code is written. It's just on the inside palm of each of the claws. Okay. So right here, press this, natural light. Another one of those eye-catching shifts, right? Drawing your eye in. Notice these great big columns right here. You see that the area starts to open up a little bit. Okay, there's something significant going on here. Building that tension up. The player's going to cross a certain point right up here. And then bats. Right? And dust. Both of which, that's movement, it's sudden, it's unexpected. Kind of releases that tension just a little bit while drawing the player's eye further into that direction. Right? So the player's like, okay, going this way. Something a little bit uncertain. Something's up with this area. Right? The player reaches another certain point, and there's more bats here in just a second. There they are. And then there's another noise. Right? Just kind of an ambient sound. And then with that ambient sound, not that ambient sound. Anyway, with that ambient sound, there's the other bats. Now we can kind of see what's going on here. There's some sort of a structure here. Some braziers. Eye is drawn to all the motion, but bracketed between the motion is light of a different color and tunnel framed by light in a different color. Right? So your eye is drawn to, this is the direction that we need to go. So, okay, so if we have to get there, we got staircases and bridge. Okay, bridge over the water. Staircases right in front of me. Okay, let's just go up here and around this corner. Now watch the edges of the screen. So right about here, we get to this point where there's a lot of the chanting going on. And then watch the edges of the screen as I climb these stairs here. Watch what right there. Right there. Now, you see, you there's this glowing energy and this chanting, and the colors are all different. And now there's this glowy thing over here, and it just draws your eye immediately to this. And the closer you get, the more the colors get weird, and it just sucks you in. Then things start to get blurry until boom. Okay, that was weird. Now, we turn around, and there's a chest. Let's go and loot that chest. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? Now we're fighting super big bad. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, that was rude. Yo, that was rude. Ari. Apparently Ari lost her bow too. Where's Inigo?
It's clear.
Seriously? Seriously? You just come up and punch it? Whatever. Ari sucks. Alright. So we kill that dude and we collect that dragonstone thing, which has a fancy name, and so the player's like, oh, okay, that's great. There's another little dungeon completed chime. We can collect the chest. Yo, hold up. What? We already have Meridia's beacon. Y'all saw me pick up Meridia's beacon. In just the last episode, we found Meridia's beacon. Right? Did we just lose all of... I think we lost some of our save file. So we might have to go back. In... Yep, we're gonna have to go back into here. Back through Hag's End. Okay, that's fine. Apparently we didn't pick up Meridia's beacon, so a new hand has to touch the beacon again. That's not usually here. It's really weird that that's in Bleak Falls Barrow, but okay.
A foul darkness has seeped into my temple. A darkness that you will destroy. Return my beacon to Mount Kilcreath.
And we come back up here. There's a lever that's illuminated by that torch right there. Very well. Opens this up. And drops us down here. There's a chest. And there's some flowers, but we don't need flowers. And then we exit back out to Skyrim, and that is Bleak Falls Barrow completed. Kind of guide you through the whole thing. Used a lot of different game techniques to kind of draw your eye forward. So now it seems that we're going to go back to Deepwood Redoubt, and we're going to do Hag's End again. Because evidently that didn't save somehow. So we're just gonna yoink back to Deepwood Redoubt. And I'm going to try and speed run through this one just to kind of get us back to where we were. But as I do this, I look for and keep an eye out for the different techniques that were used to guide the player through this. Oh. We already kill everybody? Yeah. We already killed everybody. But anyway, look at the lighting, right? More lighting. More lighting. Yeah, we already did this. Why do I have to do this again? Ow! That was rude and disrespectful. I was distracted by dinging noises that don't want to give me what I need. Anyway, so we're going to move forward through here. I wonder if this is all done yet or not also. Probably not. I might have to actually fight my way through this one. But we'll level up to make it a bit easier for us. I think they're all dead too. No, they're not. They are not all dead. Range. Go forth, my minions. You know what? There was only minimal loot from here anyway. Actually, no, I'm gonna do it. I'll let them just kill things. There you are. Oh, you're rude. Goodbye, rude person. Excuse me, rude person. I'll take your armor. Thank you. Goodbye. Alright. What the hell? Inigo kills things. Armor, I'll take that, I'll take that. Cool, goodbye. Come on. Need more than that. Okay, so. Hello. Goodbye. Whoa. Wasn't supposed to happen. Okay.
That's it. That's your best. I cannot best you.
Are you alright?
I'm fine. I just want to loot this dude. There we go. But I can take his armor and his sword. Okay, moving on. There wasn't really much of anything in here that I needed. Oh, I wanted Red Eagle's book. And there was stuff in here that I wanted. Yep, I want that, I want that, I want this, and I want that. And we want these objects here, along with this. And then we're gonna give a bunch of things to Inigo. Give
Got a snowflake on my tongue.
you this, this, these, this, and this. Because that'll be fun. Alright, now we're gonna go into Hag's End and we're gonna speed the heck through Hag's End. Not really gonna bother with sneak attacks because there's really not much to Hag's End. It's a really short sort of a deal. And as soon as you walk in the room, they pretty much see you. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'll do a little bit of sneaking. Yeah, alright, I'll do a little bit of sneaking.
Is someone there?
It's clear.
Oh, there's another lady here. Forgot about you. Okay. Mammoth tusks. Really the only loot that I wanted from this. Think there was anything in here that we needed. Give that mammoth tusk to Isolde for a lot of money, I think. She gives us a lot of money? I don't think she gives a lot of money. I don't remember what she gives us. Anywho, we're not going to go in there because of all the traps. We're just going to go straight up the stairs here. Oh.
What did you do
Ah.
with my ebony bow? I hope you didn't lose
I
it.
put it at home, remember? Move, Ari. Thank you. Okay, so then she runs away. We take this potion. Good girl. Go eat their hearts. And then we go this way.
Death comes for you.
Oh, not doing quite so well. Then again, I am trying to go as fast as I can. That also plays a role in my ability to complete this dungeon. Where are my people? My people, go and kill the... Yeah, that, exactly, do that. Anything magical in here? Soul gems particularly. Especially since we've done this a lot of times already. There's nothing in here. We're gonna go and grab this word wall, which is why we came into this dungeon in the first place. Then we're gonna come out and go in here. Okay. Nobody's going for the hag. Whoa! Where the heck? There it is. Okay. Oh. No way.
Violence solves everything.
Oh, I was gonna say no way I got that shot, but apparently I got that shot. Okay. So. Check this. Check this. Don't need anything from any of you. There's a chest right here that I do want everything from, and then we will go to the other side and slalom our way down. Boom, 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 boom. So that we can loot the hag's body and get not much. And then, actually, with the Hag's End key, there's one more thing we can do here.
I am in your way. I am sorry.
Can come up. And there's that chamber that with the master lock that we kind of just ran past. Not here. This way. Is there anything in here? That's a potion. Kill the spider. Kill the spider. No? Nobody's gonna kill the spider?
That's one for me.
Alright. This one. Yeah, we can open this now. Get this, that's a trap. Get these things, that's a trap. Really wasn't a whole lot in there. Anyway, so. And we go back out this way. And then we fast travel out of here. Okay. And here we are. Let's go ahead. Jump to Whiterun. So, that will be the end of this episode of the Skyrim fully modded playthrough, the adventures of continuing adventures of Mr. Squeaks. Next time we will be continuing the main quest line to populate the world of dragons so that we can start collecting some dragon souls. And then we will deliver, well, in doing so, we will deliver the Dragonstone to Farengar, talk to Balgruuf about dragons, go kill a dragon, and likely make the climb to the top and the highest elevation point in all of Tamriel. But for now, thanks for watching. I have a lot of fun making these. Like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.